Okay, I hope this would be the last video about the Aputure 1200X and the fan noise. So this time, as you can see, I have a window in the shot. At the moment it's not exposed correctly. I will do it in a second. So the setup looks like that the storm is to my left. As you can see, the background is overexposed. I will correct the exposure with the ND filter in a second. And this light is silent because it's running at 6%. I got kind of correct exposure on my face is f4.3. I got the lens set to f2.8. Yes, it is 35 millimeters. That's why you can see more of a background. Then actually the fall-off looks quite nice with this light, and also I'm still kind of amazed with the quality of the color rendering. So these are definitely pluses of this light. And actually the power brick is behind the wall in another part of this room, so it is also not audible. I mean, maybe I can hear it in the background, but not really. And I also brought my ultimate secret weapon against loud lights. It's not that secret because it's in the shot, and it is Shure condenser microphone. So usually when I was recording talking head in my room with really noisy Godox light, that was really good mic to block any environmental noises. And actually a few minutes ago my neighbor was using a compressor, but I think he stopped already, so I shouldn't have any external sound sources. So now probably you can see some hum, but this is from the Atomos. I'm running Atomos to have the EL zones to be able to expose correctly the window, although I already know that today is a really overcast day and it would be overcast the whole day. So I can actually check this, and the window actually is either 6 or 5. This part is either 6 or 5 stops over, and no, actually I don't know if it is even overexposed in terms of the S-log, but we can pretend it is. I think it is because I don't see any details in the clouds, so it is, in my opinion, overexposed. So probably 3 stops would be enough. So I will bring this to +2 or +3. It depends which part of the sky. It seems like it's +5, I think. So 3 stops should be okay. But to make the light sweat, I will use 4 stops of ND. So I will install the ND filter in a second and adjust the power of the light, and then we'll see. It is running at smart mode. I know that the medium is too loud. It was proven in my previous video. The link is here. So medium is too loud for such environment. It's very audible. It's hard to remove with DaVinci voice isolation. Sure, you can remove it if you push it to 100%, but then the voice sounds really bad. And I'm not an audio guy, so maybe it's possible to remove that noise from the recording. I will also try to do it, but at the moment it is very audible, and in my opinion it's not the way to go with that light in such environment with when the light is in close proximity. So at the moment the softbox itself is like 1 meter and 20 centimeters from my face, and the fan is around 2 meters 20 centimeters, so like 7 feet away from my face. So we'll see how audible it is and if this mic can eliminate this. I'm of course recording to Deity Theos, this time it's glued to my t-shirt. Also a DJI Mic Mini and Sennheiser MKE 600. So let me install the ND filter and we'll see what's going on. So as you can see, everything is too dark. Seems that now the sky is 2 stops over, so it should be okay, although I don't see much of the details, but I think there are some details in the clouds now. So let's assume it is proper exposure, and now I have to adjust the 4 stops of ND in the Sekonic, and how my face is exposed, it's minus 1 stop to minus 1 point to minus half in theory. This part and this part is like minus 6 even. So definitely I have to bring some exposure, and I think I should bring it by 4 stops. So I would adjust the exposure and then I will turn off the Atomos, because it might be noisy and it might generate the noise since it is quite close proximity to the mics. This is in linear mode, so in theory I should go to 12, 24, 48 and 96%. I don't know, but maybe I would start with 48. Not sure it works like that. Probably not, because it's now looks kinda okay. Or maybe no, it's not. So it is at 48% and this f2.8.6. So I'm kind of surprised. Not sure how linear it is, so I will go to 80. It is really bright. And the fan is kicking in. Oh, it's too much. 80 is too much. Oh, 75 might be too much also. No, it's f4. It is f4.3. So that's the proper exposure. And fan kicked in, but it's not that bad. So maybe there is a chance to use the light with the smart setting. And fan mode. If I click the fan mode, I can see the temps of the light, and it is 62 degrees Celsius, and the speed it is like 1000 RPMs, and it's getting a bit louder. But I will now turn off the Atomos, so I will double check with the. Yeah, I'm like 2 stops over on my face in theory. At least the EL zones claim that. And I'm not sure Atomos got proper implementation of the EL zones, because I got different monitoring tool with EL zones, and this different tool always shows half stop under compared to Atomos, and also this kinda shows that this is different. Maybe I should measure here when it shows the highest, but it's still f4.3, but this one is not that exact, so maybe this is wrong, maybe Atomos is wrong. So I got 3 mics recorded into the Zoom F6 and 1 mic recorded to DJI Acttion 5 Mic Mini, and we will see. So now I will turn off the Atomos, because I think the Atomos is the noisiest device now. So it is actually not that bad at the moment. It is still running. Now it's 1100 RPMs and it's 64 degrees Celsius. So maybe over time this would got hotter and the fan will kick in. It's not that bad. It's not that bad in my opinion. It's definitely much louder at 1600 RPMs, but it's ramping up. It is going up to, oh, it went down a bit. it is 1150. So it is 1150 RPMs at the moment. So if it stays at this, then it is okay, but maybe I will try 5 stops of ND. So then I will have to probably pump it to the full power, and we'll see. So at the moment 4 stops of ND, the light is running at 75% in theory in the linear, with the linear the dimming curve. It's quite bright, but since it is quite far away, it's not that bad. So yeah, and I think that window is exposed correctly now. So of course it's not the Oscar winning shot. It's not about that. It's not about the visuals. I don't have hair light and any other light. It's just to test the fan noise when you fight the sun with Aputure Storm 1200X. So that's at 4 stops of ND, and I have sent links to my 2 other videos to Aputure support, asking if this is a normal thing that at medium it is so audible. So we'll see what they say. And seems that Thomann already resolved my first return, although I haven't seen my money on my account yet, but they said it is closed and resolved on their page. So I think that they will give me my money back for the first unit, and then I will think about the second unit. I want a clear statement from Aputure. Either they say, yes, 1200X is that loud if you use the medium setting, or they say there is something wrong with the second unit and you have to return it, or something like that. As far as I know, the repairs are not that great, so sometimes it takes like half a year, so I don't want to risk it and freeze my 3K and don't have a light. So at the moment I don't know. It's kinda a weird situation, but maybe it is just what it is, and I shouldn't use the medium setting. And at the moment the light is at 64 degrees Celsius, and it is again almost at 1200 RPMs. It is audible, but maybe not as bad as before. I mean, I have to listen this on my computer with the headphones, but I guess it would be audible, but it's the kind of the same level as the power brick was when it was quite close to the mic. So maybe maybe it's not that bad overall. But anyway, I will add another stop of ND, so 5 stops, and probably have to crank it to 100%, and we will see what's going on with that. Which is probably stupid in this situation, but it's just for the experiment's sake. So I have to either put another stop or remember that I should have f5.6 and 3/10 to have proper exposure. Okay, so 5 stops of ND in the Sekonic. So I'll probably have to pump it to 100%. Is it bright enough? Doesn't look like it on the screen, but there are some reflections, so it's hard to say. And the fan is definitely ramping up. It says it's just 2.8.7. So actually in this configuration I'm not even able to expose correctly with 5 stops of ND, which is also a bummer, but I probably would be able to do it with a smaller softbox like Light Dome 3. And I can hear that it's ramping up. It's not as loud as before because it is at 15,000 RPMs and the temperature of the COB is 68 degrees Celsius. So I was kind of hoping that they can implement some kind of the low fan mode, and a low fan that would run at 1000 RPMs, something like that. It's not that bad at this 14 or 15,000. It is farther away than yesterday, like by 20 centimeters probably, but it's farther away. But maybe this would ramp up to higher speed, and then it would be louder. I think it's ramping up. Yes, it is above 1500 RPMs at the moment, so it is steadily going up, and maybe it will even go higher than the medium, which was 1600. So 5 stops of ND, 100% power in Storm 1200X, and maybe 3 seconds of silence. Yeah, it's quite loud. It's quite loud. But with 4 stops, it was kind of okay. So with smaller modifier, maybe I would test the smaller modifier in a second. Maybe that's the good idea. But then with smaller modifier, I have to probably push the modifier a bit closer. But maybe, I mean, I would have to push the light a bit closer to have the modifier at the same distance as this one. So yeah, maybe I would test it in a second, because I have everything set up already, and it took like an hour to set up, so why not test the other modifier? And it is double diffusion, so if I switch to single diffusion, then maybe I would be even overexposed. Like, I think the sky now is underexposed, or is not exposed correctly, so it is just an experiment. I'm not saying you should use 5 stops of ND in this situation, but to make the light sweat, I'm using that. But I think yes, I will stop recording and change the diffusion, and we'll see if I can fight 5 stops just for the experiment's sake, and then I will swap the modifier to see how that looks like. So, oh wow, this is bright. So this is 1.5 stop diffusion, at least what they say in the specs, but it's definitely brighter. So let me see what the Sekonic says. F4.2, which means that now I have a proper exposure on my face, so I can fight 5 stops of ND with this light with less dense diffusion in LiDAR 150. I'm not sure it looks okay, because I have to really squint my eyes, so it's just an experiment. And what is weird, that when I turn off the light, the fan stops immediately, so I don't know if it's good for longevity of the light. Some other lights I have, they basically turn off the COB, but they are still cooling the chip for like a minute or 3 minutes. Even GVM 650B Pro have this feature. And why it does not want to show me the fan mode? Yeah, it is 1500 RPMs, and the COB seems to have a 69 degrees Celsius, so it's not going to be quieter. So it is probably not as bad as medium, but let me check. Now it is medium, and it's almost 16. It is almost 16,000 RPMs. Yes, it's 16,000. It's constant 16,000 RPMs. Okay, I moved back to smart. It's going down. it is 1500 at the moment, and it will probably stay that way. So 3 seconds of silence. I think this is too loud. At 75% it was kind of acceptable, I think, but maybe I'm wrong. I have to listen to that sound. And this is the look with light dome 150 and the less dense diffusion, and I will change the modifier to light dome 3 and see if I can expose this correctly with denser diffusion. Probably should be possible, but then the light would be closer and might be more audible. So let me swap the modifier. I got the light dome 3. Oh man. It's quite bright with the double diffusion, with this denser diffusion. It's magic cloth, I think. But it says the same as before, f4.02, which is just the proper exposure on this part of my face. The rest is too dark, I think, but you can fight 5 stops of ND, and it is quite far away. It's like the same distance from my face, and the light is 1 meter 60 centimeters from me. That the fan is 120 centimeters and the light is around 180 centimeters. And you can hear, and I can hear, that the fan is really ramping up. Well, this is probably as before, around yes, around 1500 RPMs. And what is the temperature? 68 degrees Celsius. So I wonder what is the maximum temp it can reach, because I've seen it at 72 degrees Celsius. It was still running. So maybe if then can, or you can adjust the fan curve, and that would like spin 100 RPMs less. Maybe it would be just okay. At this 1100 it was quite okay, although I have to check the recording and see if this is really audible. Probably is, but might not be as bad. Like for me, this level of noise is distracting, so it would be hard for me to record anything if this is constantly humming like that. So I will adjust this to 75% and see if the fan would adjust it. It seems like it is going slower and slower. Not much slower though. Funny thing is that it went like down like 80 RPMs, but it's much quieter. So if they are able to like tame this fan by 200 RPMs, maybe it would be bearable on set. At the moment it is. I mean, now I am underexposed probably by 1 stop. Yes, like half a stop. So yeah, I wonder how audible it is in smart mode in such scenario. And I mean, I can also change the diffusion with the small softbox. I'm not sure it's like, I think it's okay, like in terms of what is exposed here. I think my whole torso is exposed correctly, and my head, although my hair seems to be really dark for some reason, so maybe it should be angled a bit differently, but I'm not fighting for an Oscar here for the photography, so it is what it is. We are checking the exposure. So okay, let me grab the less dense diffusion. I will see what exposure I can get, and then we can wrap this one up. So I thought it would be 10 minutes, but it's already probably half an hour, but what you can do. And at the moment the speed is around 1200 RPMs, so still audible. So Storm 1200X with light dome 3 and less dense diffusion, and this is just the experiment's sake for 5 stops of ND. It got really dark outside because the sunset would be within an hour or something, so it's like probably the window is not exposed correctly, but it doesn't matter. And 75%, and I have the proper exposure with this set, so that's the plus, that I can fight the sun at 5 stops. At 6 I'm not sure I will be able to do so, but I can test 6 stops of ND, why not? And what is the speed? 1200, around 1200 RPMs at 75%. So I think this is kinda acceptable, but I'm not 100% sure. It is quite loud. When it was at around 50% at 1000 RPMs, it was quite okay. This is, I think, a bit too loud. So I mean, the easiest way would be to like solder a small resistor into this fan, but you know, I'm not doing that. Okay, let me try 6 stops of ND and we're done. Okay, 6 stops of ND with light dome 3 and less dense diffusion. It's quite far away. I mean, I could bring it closer, but then the fall off on my face would be even more hardcore, and it's really bright. As you can see, I'm squinting my eyes, so I kind of doubt it would be feasible solution to use. So I don't know. And I have to adjust the filter set again. Now I have 6 stops. So I know it's 1 stop under. And is it able to, and it got a bit quieter, I think. No, it's 1200 RPMs, so okay, 100%. I think it's underexposed, like my face is underexposed. Yes, there's half stop missing to expose 6 stops of ND. I mean, I can push the light closer to myself, but it would be definitely too loud. This is the closest I can get it because there is a chandelier in the way, so it is at 100%. It looks kinda exposed correctly on the screen. It is f4.2, so it is kinda exposed correctly. So I can expose 6 stops of ND, and I think 6 stops is kinda overkill. I would probably never go to 6 stops, but I mean, I tested some time ago even 7. But it depends. Now it is really cloudy where I live, so that's like 4 stops is the maximum I should use. But during the summer, sometimes 7 stops unnecessary outside. So, but now it is really loud because it's closer. And the fan speed is probably around, oh, it's above 1500 RPM, so it is close to the medium settings, so that's why it's unbearable. So when it is at a lower setting, like around 75%, I'd say it is okay to be around it. It is probably not okay in terms of the recording quality. Probably this mic would eliminate even this noise, but I'm not so sure. But I will see. But I will see in a second. But other mics probably register the noise even at 11 or 1200 RPMs. So it might be unusable. So that's the test against the window, 4, 5, and 6 stops of ND with different modifiers, and you can judge yourself if this is too loud or not. So that's it, and cheers, mate!